All right, I'm out digging out our weed of the week, and it's actually not a weed in this field because we intentionally did plant Roundup Ready soybeans in this field. However, in some of our cornfields, we're starting to see some of this weed, volunteer Roundup Ready soybeans, popping up. Now you think, wait a minute, I've got Roundup Ready corn, I've got a few beans out there, it's no big deal. That may be true, but if you planted Roundup Ready soybeans last year and now Roundup Ready corn this year, you do have an issue because these weeds aren't going to die when you just spray Roundup.
Well, the other thing is we had a lot of beans out there last year that ended up going on the ground because harvest got late for some areas. So we are seeing a lot of volunteer Roundup Ready beans, and just about everybody's planting Roundup Ready corn now. So if you were thinking of going out there with just straight Roundup in your corn, you may have to think again. You might want to put something else in there. Now, I realize you may already have your corn sprayed, and you know what? You killed everything except for these volunteer beans. Now what do? Now it's starting to get late, your corn's starting to get big, you absolutely shouldn't be using dicamba anymore. What do?
Well, it isn't easy if you let things go. Now, if you're still in the early stage, by all means throw a little bit of dicamba in. It doesn't take a whole lot. 2.5 ounces of Status is probably the most common product being used for control of volunteer Roundup Ready soybeans. Now, if you're getting later, keep in mind all the growing points for this plant are above ground. So it's not that difficult to kill, but you do need to get some coverage down to it in your crop. If your corn's getting big, getting that spray coverage down in there could be a little bit of a challenge. Now, if you're going out with something like Callisto, Lotus, Impact, those products can work on soybeans. I would recommend using at least a half rate, if not a little bit stronger of those products if you want to take volunteer soybeans out.
Yeah, it's funny too because we get this question every year. People are like, well, if I get any Callisto or Lotus or Impact drift on my soybeans, I mean, it's terrible. Why doesn't just a low rate kill the weeds in the field? I say, now wait, there's a big difference between injuring a crop and killing a weed. It's two completely different things. Injuring a crop, you don't have to have 100% kill. In fact, you don't even have to have a 10% kill, and you think, oh, it's the end of the world. But out in a field, you want 100% weed kill. Well, you just don't seem to get that with Callisto, Impact, or Lotus, but those are safe products you can use late in the season. Now, another question I've had recently is Bucktrill. Can I go out with some Bucktrill? Nope, Bucktrill probably isn't going to do it. Even a full rate of Bucktrill won't take out all your volunteer Roundup Ready soybeans. I had a guy one time before we had many good products in beans. He seriously had cockleburr so bad it was just thick with cockleburr you couldn't even tell it was a bean field. He sprayed Bucktrill on it, and it really never hurt the beans at all. So.
Okay, don't try this at
No.
all. Now, another product that you may consider would be Hornet. The stinger part of the Hornet does work pretty good at controlling soybeans, so make sure you don't cut the rate back too far because it will take a decent rate.
Well, once again, our #1 recommendation with volunteer Roundup Ready soybeans in corn is to use a low rate of dicamba, but you have to spray that by V5, which is about 8 inches tall. After that point, we'd suggest going with at least a half or 2/3 rate of Callisto, Impact, or Lotus.
That's all the time we have for our Weed of the Week, but there's more Ag PhD to come after this.